Hokie fans, this is Coach Mike Holmes, contributor for the Sons of Saturday, back with another episode of 10-Minute Tailgates. Each week we're going to bring you a food recipe and a drink recipe for your tailgate that has something to do with the opponent that we're playing in hopes to make your tailgate a better experience overall. The Hokies this week are traveling down to the 757. We're heading down to Norfolk, Virginia, and we're playing the ODU Monarchs. The last couple of times the Hokies have made the trip down to Norfolk, it has not been a very pleasant experience for the folks in the orange and maroon. Hopefully, with these tailgate recipes, it'll bring us good luck and we'll be able to come out of Norfolk with a win against those Monarchs. So what we're going to look at today, what we're going to have today, we are making an Old Bay crab dip because, again, we are in the 757, a lot of seafood, a lot of oceanfront. So we're going to make an Old Bay crab dip. And then for our drink, we're going to do something that is a 757 staple. It is a orange crush. It's a vodka drink. Let's go ahead and get started by putting together our crab dip. So what you're going to need for this dip is you're going to have 1 pound of crab meat. You're going to use an 8-ounce block of softened cream cheese. You're going to use 1 cup of mayonnaise, preferably Duke's from Richmond, Virginia. You're going to use 1/3 of a cup of shredded cheddar cheese. You're going to have half a teaspoon of ground mustard. You're going to have 2 teaspoons of Old Bay seasoning. Now, to eat this dip, and I'm only showing a couple of pieces here, but if you go buy a pack of pita bread, we're just going to cut it into triangles. Makes a great dipper of this particular item. All right. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to preheat our oven to 350 degrees. We're going to get this going because this is a hot dip. This is something that we're going to put the cheese on top. The cheese is going to melt over top of everything. So if you're making this at a tailgate, I recommend making this the night before, ahead of time. Keep it in the refrigerator, keep it wrapped up, and when you get to, before you leave for the tailgate, pop it in the oven. Or if you have a grill that you would like to set it on, you can actually cover it in foil, set it on a grill. It'll heat up, it'll melt the cheese, and it'll be just fine. All right, so let's start putting this together. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to get our cream cheese and our mayonnaise. Okay, drop that mayonnaise in there. Always nice to have a spatula to scrape to get everything. We're also going to add now our ground mustard and our Old Bay. So now all that's in, and this is just going to be the base of our dip. And it's really nice to have a spatula because you can really scrape the sides, get everything all mixed together. And this is going to be an excellent base for what we're going to be doing here in just a minute. And it already smells good. Old Bay might be the best, one of the best seasonings out there. I am such a huge fan. Put it on the rim of a glass if you're having a Bloody Mary or anything else like that. It's going to be fantastic. Okay. All right. So we're getting everything blended up here. Then what we're going to do, once it gets all blended up, now we're going to add our crab meat. With this crab meat here, we're just going to fold it into our mix. And so when I say fold it in, okay, we're going to go in and out, in and out. We're going to fold the crab meat in. My camera person, my beloved wife, AC, just gave me a really weird look when I was doing that. So we're going to set this here. We're going to leave it for just a second. We're going to wait for our oven to finish preheating. And while we're waiting for that oven to preheat, we're going to use a standard Pyrex dish. I like the square one, the 9x9. Okay. Now that this is all ready, we are going to scrape this and dump this all in. Again, the spatula is your best friend. You're able to scrape all the corners and edges. Get everything all working in there. Okay. Then we're going to spread it out thin, covering the bottom. Okay. So the last thing we're going to do for this, we're going to take our shredded cheese and we're just going to sprinkle it over the top. So that little bit should be enough just to cover the top. You don't want this thing to become a big, thick layer of cheese. You want just enough to kind of cover the top of it. And then when it is ready to go into the oven, when that oven finishes preheating, we're going to drop it in the oven for about 10 to 15 minutes or until that cheese melts and you get a nice brown crust on top. Looks like our oven is getting there. So I'm going to go ahead and drop this in the oven. And we're going to come back and visit it here after we make our drink. So let's roll on over here. So the Orange Crush Virginia Beach staple, 757 staple, and it is a beverage that is going to be light and it's going to be refreshing. You could have multiple of these, drink responsibly, but you could have multiple of these at your tailgate, and it's going to be a very delicious, tasty, light, refreshing beverage. So we're going to start out with 3 ounces of fresh squeezed orange juice, and we're going to put all this stuff into our shaking tin. So we're going to use 3 ounces of freshly squeezed orange juice. Okay. We're going to take an ounce and a half of vodka, and this is Poroso's vodka. This is Bert Kreischer and Tom Segura's vodka. Shout out to the boys. We're going to add about an ounce and a half, and I'm just going to eyeball this here. About an ounce and a half there. And then we're going to add about an ounce and a half of triple sec. Triple sec is an orange liqueur. So we're going to add about an ounce and a half of that. Perfect. And a couple of dashes of orange Angostura bitters. All right. Going to add our top. Okay. And we're going to give it a good shake. We're going to do the old-fashioned bartender shake where you're not just going up, but you're going out as well. Okay. Let's give this thing a good run around. Okay. Now, before we pour, we're going to go ahead and we're going to fill our glass with some crushed ice. If you don't have crushed ice or access to crushed ice, you can always just put some regular ice cubes in a Ziploc bag and hit it with a hammer. All right? That'll work just fine. All right. So now we have our ice. We're going to take our beverage that we have now shaken all the ingredients into, and we are going to pour it about 3/4 of the way into the glass. And we're going to take some Sprite, good old-fashioned Sprite. If you don't have Sprite, you can use 7-Up, Sierra Mist. They don't call it Sierra Mist anymore. What do they call it? It's something different. Then we're going to fill to the top with the Sprite. That's going to get you your bubbles and everything else. Give it a quick stir. Let it all mix together. Garnish with an orange wedge on the side. And there you go. We have our Orange Crush. That is tasty. It tastes like the beach. That is an excellent beach drink. All right. We're about ready to pull out our dip out of the oven. Should get that that nice melty cheese, get a little crisp on the top there. But so in the meantime, what we're going to do is we're going to prepare our pita for dipping. You can stack them up if you want to, make it a little bit more efficient. And all we're going to do, we're going to cut down the center. We're going to rotate, cut down the center, rotate. Then we're going to cut down the center. We're going to form tiny triangles all the way through. Again, not much to it. Very easy. Make these pita triangles. They stack easily in a Ziploc bag or any type of package container, so you can have this to take with you. All right, now let's take a peek at what we got right here. Oh man, this is looking amazing. Oh, perfect. So we're going to set that down right there. As you can see, the cheese is kind of melted over top everything. It looks fantastic. Probably what I'm going to do, because I don't want to dip my pita into this whole thing, I'm going to take my pita. I would recommend serving this with some type of spoon so you can help scoop this material out. So we're going to take a little bit, get some of that melty cheese, get some of that good Old Bay crab dip, set it on top of my pita. All right. Mm. It is absolutely perfect. The Old Bay really comes through. The lump crab in there is phenomenal. Cheese, great, adds a little bit of sharpness to it. Really recommend this crab dip recipe with the pita bread. And don't forget about your orange crush. Please follow the Sons of Saturday YouTube page. Like, subscribe, follow us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, everywhere that we have social media. Follow me at Hokie Hitter. Thanks, and go Hokies.